Skywalking with Wetz pod / YouTube video mix we got going on now. Got my boy Jarius Halligan, lifelong Mavs fan. We've had him on before. We talked ball, we talked a bunch of other stuff, but now it's time. So I think when I talked to him, the Suns lost to the Mavs that year in the playoffs. We got embarrassed. That's the last time he was on.
Absolutely.
But lifelong Mavs fan. I wanted him to come on, share his opinion. He's very knowledgeable of, ball in general. Former college coach. Let's not overlook that. Former college coach, so he knows what he's talking about. All right. But also just having someone on that's a fan, having your team that's not historically been there too many times on the pod. Because I know as a Suns fan, bro, for me, it was like cloud nine. And you haven't seen this since
2011. It's been 13 years, man, against the Heatles.
Oh, dude, they were cold. I hated the Heatles, though. I think everyone hated the Heatles. No, I can't say that. Because there's some weirdos out there that...
Not gonna lie, 2011, I was young. I was torn, right?
Okay.
I
thought
wanted
you
to
were
see
gonna
LeBron
say...
get his first one.
Go ahead.
I wanted to see LeBron get his first one, but also it's like Dirk needed one, right? After not getting it in '06, Dirk needed one bad, and it was just like... It was basically, and I was young enough that I was like, I'd just be happy with the outcome. Whatever happens, happens at the end of the day. And now we're back. Now we're here and we're all in. We're locked in. We're dive.
Game one.
I mean, we made the conference finals 2 years ago after beating your Suns, and that was cool. But then we lost to the Warriors. So
yeah. Which is, and I want to get into this. I definitely want to get into this. I feel like you and I can dig in. This is no bash on any of my other guests, but sometimes you can't dig in, and so I'm looking to do that here. We'll get into that. I want to get into that.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back to that 2011 series. So when did you start? Actually, let's bring it before then. When did you start? What made you choose the Mavs to be your squad? First off, let's establish a background before we get going.
Oh, absolutely. So obviously, grew up. Basketball's been my passion, right? As it is for both of us. Everything like that. I was actually born in Texas. So while I grew up in South Dakota, being born in Amarillo, a lot of family down there, a lot of family in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I always kind of had roots there. But as I was coming up and I was trying to figure it out, cheering for teams, the only thing I knew in my life coming up was that I did not want to be a Minnesota sports fan. I saw my dad. I saw how miserable it was. If anything, I like to poke the bear. So I would just go against whoever he didn't want. And actually, my first NBA game was the Nuggets. So I was all in on the Nuggets as a young kid,
Mello.
10, 11. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Could you, Carmelo? Was it Carmelo?
Yeah,
Yep.
Mello, AI. I wore number 3 growing up for Allen Iverson.
Mm-hmm.
And whatnot. So we went to 2 Nuggets games. I think my first one I was 11 years old, and I was like, this is cool. Like the NBA, built my first real exposure to it. So I actually have a whole Denver Nuggets room. And as I got older and started like really defining myself, all I knew, player movement started in the NBA, right? So I had jerseys of every team, every which way. And then I started just having more and more connections to Dallas, to the Mavs. I've been to more Mavs games after that. After going to the Denver game, I started going to more Mavs games where I've been to like 3, 4, 5. And it was just like, I'm a Mavs fan. Like, this is what I want. This is where my family is. This is where, if I could live any city in the world, I'd live in Dallas. I was like, it just came full circle. And this is what I'm going to root for. This is where I'm going to choose to display my happiness on, whether the Mavs win or lose.
Yep. Dude, those early Mavs teams with who'd they have? Dirk, Josh Howard.
I mean, we had Steve Nash.
Then he went to the Suns. You didn't have Sean Marion. Yeah, I'm trying to. This is where you got to get the cobwebs out. Is when you got to, for me, because I remember Dirk, Josh Howard. Who else did you have, dude? Who else did you have?
I mean, back then,
You got me?
I got you. Hold
Okay.
on.
Let me look here.
Obviously, this is before like we were really young back then, but you're looking back in those days. I mean, with Gerald Green, we had freaking Brandon Bass, JJ Barea, which just was we
JJ,
were
yeah.
JJ Barea most successful stop first and foremost. He was nobody else knew how to use him but Rick Carlisle apparently.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here.
And
Eric
then I mean we had
Dampier.
Jason Terry. Yep,
Yeah,
Jerry Stackhouse spent
that's
some
who I
time with
was.
us.
That's those are the two I was forgetting. I was like, there's two more. It was Jason Terry and Jerry Stackhouse. But yeah, Dampier down there at the center. Um, damn, yeah, Doug Christie. Shout out Doug Christie, man. I believe he's a draft class of '96. Devin Harris. He won Rookie of the Year,
Devin
didn't
Harris was
he?
a dog.
Or Sixth
Devin
Man of the
Harris was
Year
a
as a rookie.
dog
And
back
same
then. I mean,
thing.
that's when
He didn't do
that is
well
when we
anywhere
got
else
lost
until
though.
he was in Dallas.
I mean, we are talking like we blew the 1 seed right. We lost to the Warriors. I'm pretty sure it was,
Yeah.
and just Dirk's MVP year back in 2007, and it just we never made it. We lost to the Hornets as the in that 2007 playoffs.
Oh, I was like Hornets, but they were in New Orleans.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Oh, that's a '08 playoffs.
Oh wait, dude.
So yeah,
Yeah. So, like as a kid, did you watch that? Was that 06, 07 series?
I was actually in Texas during the
Wow.
'06, the 2006 championship.
Okay.
I was in Texas, so we were all. I actually remember it vividly. We were all in my tia's basement or like entertainment room. There was a pool table in there, just watching the game and watching Miami just and D Wade just dismantle the Mavericks.
Dude. That's when D Wade was like, do you remember that little D Wade shoe he had? What were they called? The Way of Wades or something like that?
Now those are what they're called now.
No, that's what they're called. What were they
Um,
called back? They were Converse, and like the
yeah,
toe
he had
was
those.
white and they were black or red.
I wasn't honestly. I know what you're talking about. I can picture them, but I can't remember what they were called back when Wade was doing his thing. I mean, if you look back at that series, though, I mean, the Mavs are win the first two games at home, and this was back when the playoff format
Was it
was
five,
2-3-1.
two, three,
No, well,
one?
I think the first round was no, it was still seven back
Still
then, but it
seven.
was it was the top seed had the first two games at home and the next three on the road, and then they started switching that obviously years later
Oh,
because they're
yep.
like, how important is game five? Like we
Mm-hmm.
can't be on the road.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be 2-3-2 for
Mm-hmm.
the 7 game series.
Mm. Yeah. Dude, we've seen a lot of rule changes, honestly. Jarius, we've been around almost 30 years, man. It's hard to
Oh,
think.
we're getting
Like,
old.
it's happening quick. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be 35. I'm gonna be like, so I was like, because like I said, getting the cobwebs out. I was talking to one of my kids. Like I work at a school. I was like, dude, not too long ago, I was your age, and I was like, how old are you? He's like 10, and I was like, damn, that was 17 years ago.
Yeah, man.
That is a
Like
long time ago.
we're
Um,
old.
but yeah, we've seen a lot of rule changes in the league, and I feel like the Mavs have, even though the rings, oh, camera went blurry. Even though the rings don't show it, I think they've been one of the most consistent like franchises in the league in terms of making the playoffs and having decent groups. I can't think of too many down years with the Mavs, like since like
We
historically since I was a little kid to now.
we've been very lucky, right? I mean, we had Dirk's end of his career. I mean, we had that mini stretch where we were terrible. Our college years, we were terrible. I mean, we were fighting
Yeah,
with the Suns for the bottom of the league.
right.
We were fighting for draft picks. But
But the
as a
Suns
Mavs
been there for
fan,
10 years.
yeah, like it's been very blessed to be able to go from Dirk, a
Yeah,
franchise player, and then get a guy like Luca. You don't get that very often.
no,
I mean, just that type of consistency, especially in the West where it's so hard to win. It's been it's been huge. And the way Luca was able to come in and impact immediately completely changed the trajectory of the franchise. I mean, if the Kings take him instead of Bagley, we're in turmoil. I mean, I don't know. We're still fighting at the bottom of the league. I don't see anything we could have done otherwise. So getting two franchise guys like that back to back at the end of their career, to where Dirk's last year was Luka's rookie season,
Oh, they
and it's just
overlapped.
blessing. 1 year, 1 year, which is honestly could be the Mavs saving grace because Dirk was able to impact Luka directly
Yeah.
as a player, and why Dirk stayed there long term because Dirk could have jump shipped easy.
Oh yeah. 100%. 100%. Damn. Yeah, man. Dirk was my guy. Even though like Suns Mavs have always battled, I've always had like this weird like I still rock with Luca. I still rock with Dirk. You know.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's the Suns Mavs relationships is one of the weirdest things because like we had that little mini rivalry, right?
Yep.
And whatnot ever since we beat you guys 2 years ago and we thought it was going to develop into more, and it still can. I mean, I remember back in 2020, I think it was. I was talking to my friend Braden, and we used to live together. We were college teammates, this and that. Um, I was talking to him, and I said, Mavs Suns are about to be in the conference finals because of D Book, because of Aiton, because of Luca for the next. I mean, we're going to be battling for the next X amount of years, and we've only met in the playoffs once.
Mm-hmm.
But it was that transition. But the relationship, I mean, you think about it. We have Steve Nash. We send you guys Steve Nash. You guys have J Kidd at a time. We send you guys Nash. You guys go to multiple Western Conference finals. You guys send us
Yep.
Kidd and Sean Marion. We win a title. Like just that, the trade partners back and forth that
And
it has
didn't
been
Jason
between the
Kidd
two.
didn't he get drafted with y'all? Then he went to the Suns, or did he go Suns then to you?
I
Because
can't
he
remember
bounced
his career
twice.
path.
I think he went
Well,
Mavs, Suns, Nets, Mavs again. I think. Or am I tripping?
let's
Or am I
let's
tripping?
look. Let's pull it up. So
Or
he
am I?
did drafted with us, rookie of the year back in 94, 94, 95 season. Yeah, we sent him to you guys in 96, 97. He ends up, you guys send him to New Jersey, or he signs there as a free agent in 2001. And then then from New Jersey, he comes back to us
What
for
like
the title run.
2000?
He comes back to us in 2007, 2008.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, but just seeing all the people that have worn both a Mavs jersey and a Suns jersey, it's just a weird relationship, I feel like.
No, and we've always historically, there especially during those times, um, we had a lot of internationals on our team. Y'all had a lot of
Hmm.
internationals on your team. Um, yeah, I've always rocked with the Mavs, even though y'all embarrassed us. Like that hurts, and it's always gonna be Suns over Mavs when it comes down to it. But like, I've always really like I can't say I don't like Luca, even though him and Book go at it. But like, I couldn't say I didn't like Jason Kidd or
Yeah.
Dirk. Like, they're so influential because that was our time of our life when we were coming up. And for me personally, those were the guys. It was always like the international guys that got me really into watching basketball. I always played, but like Nash, Canadian, Dirk, international, Ginobili, international. I just loved their
Hmm.
games, dude. Like, and of course you like LeBron and all those kinds of dudes, but I don't know. Seems like more so the Mavs have always been historically consistent since I've been a kid. Um,
Always good enough to not have the number one pick, but not good enough to win anything, but not bad enough to have a number one pick.
Right, just kind of stuck in that middle ground, but you lean like you're patient, like with those stars. There's probably times you could have shipped Dirk out, not right now,
Absolutely.
not right now, but like we'll ship that core out because you had Jason Terry, Berea, whatever, but you rock with it, and so let's jump into that real quick. I was thinking about this. People were we talking about this on Instagram Live? What do you do if you're the Celtics? If it doesn't work this year,
Okay.
do you blow it up or do you say, nah, we're just going to try and get as many as we can with this group of guys? We're not going to try and ship JB out or whatever.
it's constant plug and play at this point with them, right? I mean, I think if you don't win it this year, you have to take a look in the mirror between JB and Tatum. And they already paid JB all that money. You keep Tatum. All right. One,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure we're very clear on this because I've seen a lot of slander on the TL. And Jason Tatum's a top 10 player in the NBA. And so he is going nowhere. You do not get rid of Jason Tatum. But now it's plug and play. You did the shakeup. You got Drew. You have Kristaps.
Hmm.
If it doesn't work, it's like, okay, well, what are we missing? What's happening? And honestly, this Celtics team, they just don't look as tough as they were last year, right? Like they don't have the same fight. They're more finesse. And whether that's a Joe Mazzulla thing or
Yeah.
whatever, they're just way more finesse. And I think that might end up being their downfall. I mean, they just don't have anybody that's just gonna get that look in their eye and say, "I'm winning this game,
And that's
no
what my
matter what it takes."
that's my argument for the series. That's my argument. Yes, the Celtics top to bottom. You look at the Celtics top to bottom. Yeah, there's more there. They got Kristaps, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, and then you added Derek White onto that, and then Al Horford coming off the bench. Like, dude, Al Horford's timeless right now. Like this dude,
Like that man needs to retire.
this
He's so
dude,
old.
he just hits that corner pocket three like it's no one's business, bro. It's
Absolutely.
crazy. Um, but
Absolutely.
but my argument and my boy Jake Jarrett, I'm gonna try and get him on here tomorrow. So I'm gonna try and do two videos because he's a Celtics fan. He's like a Boston
Okay.
fan. He likes the Bruins, Celtics, and the Patriots. Um, but
Gross.
he was like, "Bro, we're gonna win by 15." I was like, "But what happens when the game gets close? What
And that's
happens
that's
when it's time?"
that's my thing. We've been the best clutch team in the NBA all season. And it's just look at the games we've lost in the playoffs, right? We've gotten blown out except for game 4 against Minnesota, and Kyrie and Luka played awful, or else they probably win that one too. Kyrie doesn't go 6 for 22 or whatever he
Right.
shot that game. And it's just when we lost the games to the Clippers, that first series, I mean, you can go back through my Twitter feed. It's like, hey, they got to shoot 54% from 3 to beat us. I'm not worried. And I'm very curious on game 1 because so far the games we've lost, I haven't felt nervous at all about any of the series we've played because I haven't the coach in me, right? I haven't seen anything schematically
Mm-hmm.
that's like that's a problem for us,
Mm-hmm.
like what they did, how they won those games. I mean, we missed free throws one game against OKC. All right, well, that's on us. Clippers had to shoot lights out from 3 to win the 2 games they beat us. Like I just haven't seen anything schematically that has been an issue for the Mavs. And it's just the Celtics are the best shooting team in the NBA at the end of the day. I mean, they make about 16 and a half per game, but we make 14. So I think Luke and Kyrie are worth the 6 point difference.
Well, look at the drop off in production from Cat and Ant Edwards against you guys in the Western Conference Finals. They
Exactly.
did go 7 games. I'll give them that. But Cat looked real good against the defending champs. Ant
Yep.
looked good against the defending champs. I feel like Ant was a little tired. It is what it is. But Gobert looked damn good in that series. McDaniels looked good, but they didn't play like that against y'all. They didn't play
That's
against,
what I'm
like, you
and
know what I mean?
that's the thing people are not paying attention to. The Celtics, as good as their defense is, after the trade deadline, we were the number 1 defense in the league.
Damn, really?
With PJ, with DJ,
Mm-hmm.
Lively, and all them, we were the number 1 defense that final stretch of the season.
Yeah.
And look what we've done in the playoffs. I mean, we've played 350-win teams, perennial offenses. I mean, the Timberwolves were the worst offense we've played in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, Kawhi was hurt. Kawhi, I don't know what's up with Kawhi, man. I was hoping that
Kawhi's not gonna
series.
play.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Anyways, yeah, y'all, and that's it. The defense keeps you in the game, and I'm gonna go with the Mavs if it's a 5 point game with 5 minutes left, because guess what? We
Absolutely.
have a guy who hit the game-winning shot. Well, the game-sealing shot in a game 7 of a 3-1 comeback. You got just to start. You got him.
Yes.
And he's like, Kyrie, bro, it's actually, for me, I feel like it's beautiful to see. Like, just to see where he's at in like a space as an individual and a person. Like he doesn't have that spite like he did when he left Cleveland. He was very spiteful, and I don't really know exactly what it was, if it was Braun or what it was. Then the Celtics didn't work, and then the Nets. But here he is, and everyone was writing y'all off too. They're saying there's no
But we
way this
got
is
him.
gonna work.
I thought about this on my drive to work this morning, right? Here's the thing with Kyrie, and I thought about it because playing against Jason Tatum, and Jason Tatum, a known, very outspoken Kobe disciple, right? Always
Yeah,
talks about it, all this, and whether he gets clowned for it sometimes and whatnot. But if we take a look, who's the truest Kobe disciple in the NBA right now? It's Kyrie. I mean, I think their mentorship, their relationship was probably one of the strongest out of guys left in the NBA.
mm.
And it's just that mentality, and I just don't see him losing. And then I also read something this morning about Luca. And so you got the Mamba mentality, quote unquote, from Kyrie, and then you got Luca who spent those, what was it, 6 years with Real Madrid
Mm-hmm.
playing. Started at 13, and well, Real Madrid, their philosophy, victory is the only thing that matters. Nothing matters. And when Luca hits that switch, it is
It's
just
scary. It's
it's
scary.
terrifying. And I just don't see who's going to beat those two
And that's
unless the
Jaylen
Celtics
Brown and
make
Jason
20 a game.
Tatum's. That's Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum's big question mark. Are they finishers
Absolutely.
in big moments? And
Absolutely.
that's where I go, because I'm like, Luke is already a certified finisher. Kyrie's hit how many game winners? Certified finisher. Okay, let's match Kyrie and Luka to Tatum and Brown. And yes, those other guys definitely influenced the game a lot. Derek White, Drew Holiday, big problems for sure. But the Mavericks have shown they're going to keep it close, and when it's close, who's going to win
And
that
for
game?
the people that say that it's not going to be close, one, a 6.5 point spread for game one is almost disrespectful. Like, they let the Pacers stay within 6 points how many times in the last series?
They should have
Like,
lost 3 games against the Pacers. The Pacers should have
yeah,
won 3 of those games. There was one game they kind of got blew out, but they were up game one, they were up game two, and then they blew a 20-point lead in game four.
yeah, like losing game one was their downfall. And I said this after, as soon as that game ended, like they won't win another game
They
after that. You
sold it.
cannot lose that game.
You sold it.
You cannot lose that game. And so just it's going to be a different animal. And I have the Mavs in six. And I've told you this, I've talked about this with people. I think there will be 2 games where Boston's just red hot from three, and you're gonna lose those games.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day. You are.
Tatum and Brown will do
And
their little front running thing. They know they up, so then they gotta be start hitting everything. Like that's just how it
yeah,
goes.
and that's just who was it? JJ Redick said this about, I think it was Stan Van Gundy or somebody, and he's like, during my time in Orlando, it doesn't matter if we lose by 5 or we lose by 30. They don't get a bonus point for blowing us out. So
Right.
we take those 2 losses. But the other 4 games, I think we win. I think if it's close at all. And it's like kind of what I said about the Minnesota series too, is just you can't you can't guard those two. And I saw the stat coming in, and I didn't do enough research to see if it was just in the playoffs
Mm-hmm.
or as a season as a whole. But out of all the teams that made the playoffs, the Celtics are the worst pick and roll defense out of all 16.
Really?
And Luka and Kyrie are masters of the pick and roll. Yeah, they announced that stat during the conference finals because the Pacers were 15th and the Celtics were 16th. And I damn near started salivating at the mouth. I was just like, we just got to get there. We just have to get
Dude.
there.
And can we like again, kind of what I was saying earlier. People counted y'all out saying Kyrie and Luka will work. But like now here you are. And so for me as just a basketball fan, I like Luka. I'm a Suns fan. But as a basketball fan, like when Luka got to the Western Conference Finals again, and again, you tried to give me shit, but I said it was a hard decision. It was a very hard decision because everything I'm saying now I was taking into account. I personally thought that Gobert and Cat would do better than they did. And I thought Ant would do a little better than he did. But anyways, but the basketball fan of me is like, damn, if Luka gets to a finals, bro, I think,
How could you not want to watch that? Like, watch this man. And
but I
we'll go
can't
back.
see him losing a finals.
I can't. Once he gets there, and once he gets a taste, it might be dangerous.
That's
It
what I.
might be dangerous for the
That's
rest of
what.
the league.
That's what I'm saying. Because then now, guess what? Win or lose, free agents are like, oh shit, they were
Let
right
me go to
there. Let
Dallas.
me go to
Let's go to
Dallas.
Dallas.
Like I don't know who. Like even just those role players, just to get even more deep. Like it's the and the Suns kind of got that a little bit too. We tried to keep the core together, but greed and stupidity got in the way. So now we're like in this weird spot. Um, Imagine if Luca and Book. What if we were able to tell the future and we're like, yeah, Aiton's gonna suck. He didn't suck. He didn't suck by any means, but like when I say
Oh,
suck,
I
meaning like
love
he
this.
doesn't want to be there anymore. Imagine if we had Book, and this is what I think, and this is all love to my guy Book. Would Book be the player he is today if he? Because Luca's coming in. Luca's gonna have to be the guy. Aiton wasn't gonna be the guy because he's a big man, right? So it's like a 1-2
No.
Kobe Shaq thing. But when you have Luka and Book, like would Book be the same? But if they kept their same trajectories, bro, makes me sick.
Here's my thought. I'm so glad you brought this up because my friend Braden's gonna hate this. We were living together during this draft, right? So it's a 2019 draft's coming up, and he's like, "God, what do the Suns need?" You guys had been in turmoil, right? Like
Just
two years
turmoil, like
prior. You guys won like 7 games. Like you guys were awful.
not even 20,
And
dude.
the Mavs weren't much better. I mean, the Mavs, I was placing bets before the year with my friend, just friend to friend, about I bet you guys don't win 20 games. Like those were the
Yeah,
conversations we were having.
yeah.
And so we're going into 2019 draft, and I'm watching all these draft picks and everything. And you guys are taking Aiton, right? He's playing at Arizona.
He's an
It's that
Arizona dude.
you guys needed a big. It made sense. But as I'm watching, I kept telling him, I was like, you guys need a playmaker first. You guys should draft Luca. That's what I would do. I was like, and I was a college kid, like whatever. Like
Right,
all my whole experience was playing my team on NBA
right,
2K.
right.
Like, but I was like, you guys should draft Luca. You guys get a playmaker. All of a sudden, your team takes off. You can find a
Mm-hmm.
certified, a big that'll work. You can find in free agency. There's a million of them available. You're not going to be able to replicate Luca. And then the worst thing happened is for my friend Braden is that we end up with Luca. So now he has to hear about it constantly. But I think if you guys get Luca, I think Book does the same. I think Book's just a hooper.
Book's a
And
killer,
honestly,
bro. Makes me sick
he's
what
an
we're doing to him.
I have an argument that I don't know if you're winning a championship if Book's your guy. If he's your number one, I don't know if you are at
Shit,
the end of the day.
we almost did. Chris Paul he broke his hand, dude. I was there. I was at that
But
game
so
4.
here's the thing. I've had this conversation. Here's the deal. Book was your guy scoring wise. Chris Paul was your leader, right? He was your floor
Facts.
general.
He was
He
the
was your
vet.
leader.
He was the vet on the team.
He was your
Yep.
playmaker. And here's my argument that says you can say because he averaged 27 points per game that year and 27 or 28 in the playoffs, whatever, that Book was the number one, that he was your one. But that same year, Booker wasn't all NBA. He wasn't MVP conversations. Chris Paul was second team all NBA. He was fifth in the MVP voting that year.
Well, we know how all that
By all
works.
accords, well, Chris Paul sounds like he was your guy
Chris Paul
at the end
definitely
of the
helped.
day.
Well, you got to look at it. You got to look at it. So you bring it back a year before, we're the bubble team, right? We go like 6
Yep.
and 0, 8 and 0 in the bubble. We do exactly what we had
Yep.
to do. But who do we have at our point guard? We had a playmaking Ricky Rubio, another vet who got everybody, and that's what the Suns need even today. That's what the
Yeah,
Suns need even
absolutely.
today is somebody. If it was like, I'd love Ricky Rubio to come back. Even like him, I feel like would make a great impact. A guy who can get your dudes the ball into their spots, and a guy that can get all the role players that we're paying $2 an hour for comfortable. Like here's 5 points just off easy little dumps. Like I'm making this pass because I know they're gonna help here. You got that skip pass or like
Look what
whatever.
Mike Conley did for the Wolves.
Exactly, exactly, and that's what then Chris Paul comes in, a lot more dynamic than scoring wise than
Yeah,
Ricky
absolutely.
Rubio, and yeah, like I feel like
But
that's where we saw Book grow the most is under Chris Paul and Rubio
I'm
because he learned how to play the game.
absolutely, and I'm on the record saying this. As soon as I can probably go back and find the text message, but as soon as you guys got Chris Paul, I texted my friend Braden and I said, "You guys will be good now. You guys
Yeah,
will be a good team with Chris Paul, and you guys go to the finals." It was proven.
but he's like he's cursed, dog. He's cursed. So Aiton kind of shat the bed. Chris Paul's shoulders out, and then basically, Mikel and Cam but man, that one hurt. I was there. I was there at Game 4 in Milwaukee. It was a 2-1 series, and I'm like, we just need to win this, and like we're NBA champions. And we were up all game, but I don't know if you remember this. It's easy for me to remember because I'm obviously a fan, and I was there. Like 2 phantom calls on Devin Booker to give him 5 fouls in like the end of the third quarter in that Game 4, and he barely played the fourth quarter, and we were still hanging in there. But Chris Paul couldn't shoot. Like coming into
No,
that
he was
game, we
hurt.
knew he was hurt. He couldn't shoot. When he would shoot, dude, it was like he couldn't, he was like pushing it. Like when you see a kid shoot for the first time, they've never played ball, they don't really know how to
Yeah,
flick and extend. They just kind of like push. It was like that, dude. And I was like, oh no. And then guess who else? Like a playmaking forward, we had Dario Saric. He tore his ACL. And it was just like, oh shoot. Because dude,
just
those someone
watch
who
it
can just
unfold.
play make outside a book. You know what I mean? It sucked. But
Book's not a
anyways,
playmaker. He's a scorer.
yeah, exactly. But
We're getting
anyways,
we're getting off track
we
from
were
the
getting
finals.
off
I got
track.
more. I got a
Yeah.
whole nother theory
But
that we might have to break down in the
I'm
offseason.
gonna
But
pull up these highlights. This is
but look at that. That drop coverage is exactly why I thought the Timberwolves were a bad matchup. They do not have the bigs to contain. And if you can't contain, it's going to be on the others to make the shots at the end of the day. But there, Porzingis hits like four of like I think his first four like that. It was that simple too, just that little pop out. And I was watching this game and I'm like, what the hell do we got to do to stop that?
Drew Holiday's tough.
He is tough.
I'll always
He's
stand
tough. He's
behind that.
Kyrie. He'll be on Kyrie. Can't put him on Luca. He's too small. See right there, that slot spot.
Yep.
Porzingis kills at that, and that really hurt us this game. That's a bad man right there, though.
Dude, nobody's gonna be able to guard him. So I wonder if they're gonna put Drew on. Where do you put Drew?
Put
Pick
Drew
and
on. You start
roll.
Drew on Kai.
Oh,
Blitzing Kyrie, he's too shifty, but it works better than blitzing Luca because Luca is big enough to make the pass still.
yeah.
On blitzing Kyrie, he struggles more. But see, we didn't let Porzingis catch it there, and that helped. Lively's going to be huge in this series. Having Maxi back, if we didn't have Maxi, I don't think we'd win this series. I don't, because the
Hmm.
Celtics can play small, go 5 out. But the pick and roll coverage is going to be their downfall, and they're going to just be praying that
Right here
the
again.
Mavs shoot like they did one.
They don't
If
know
they're
what to
going to
do.
get, you can't. I mean, it just Porzingis can't guard, and I saw a lot of talk on like the sports shows and stuff that Porzingis back helps their pick and roll coverage, but it doesn't. Luka's just going to pick it apart, and it's just going to be constant.
And they've had
My
how
biggest
long to do film and just break it down.
exactly like it's going to be a coaching mask. Look at that. That snake's going to be there all day.
Yeah.
Luka
And that
and I are
he
going to
he
snake
eats
the
off
hell
that.
out of the drop. And Luka eats off it more, in all honesty, because then he
Mm-hmm.
can get in his face, he gets you on his back, and you just snake. So drop coverage, the more drop they play, the worse it's going to be. And
How's he
THJ doesn't play
how's
anymore.
he been playing with y'all? Is he gone?
He doesn't. Jaden Hardy took his minutes last
Damn.
in the OKC
He
series.
ain't
He
bad,
came
bro.
in a couple games.
I picked him up on fantasy and he's solid. He'll go, 4 for 5,
Yeah,
6
he had a cold
rebounds.
stretch at the end of the year. Honestly, we're probably moving off him this summer. We need to if we're going to continue to improve the team. Jaden Hardy's coming. Jaden Hardy's already taken his minutes. And Jaden Hardy's been like a Kyrie disciple. He's been at Kyrie's hip since he's been there,
Mm.
basically, just learning from him. And
Why?
so, and we're
Why
paying
wouldn't you?
THJ 18 at the
Okay.
end of the day. So, but yeah, the Celtics, I mean, they shot lights out this game.
Yeah, you
It
can't
was
have that right there. You can't have Pritchard on Luca.
no, I mean, and it's
God
just going to
no.
be hunting mismatches. And the Celtics like to hunt those switches too with their five out, and everybody's like, well, they're going to hunt for Luca and Kyrie, which as they are and they should, but the Clippers tried that, right? Like that's how the Clippers play. That's how Ty Lue plays. And it's going to be the same thing, but Lively and Gafford as lob threats. It'll be
That's what then Derek Jones Jr. Just throw it up to that guy too.
yeah. We have to win the rebounding battle.
I didn't
That's the
re-
biggest thing.
I didn't realize Lively, and see that's why I thought the Wolves were gonna win because I was like, there's no way. But dude, I didn't realize Lively was a rookie.
Oh yeah, we tanked for him.
Where did he come out of? Was he is
Duke.
he a SEC? Oh, ACC.
He's a
Oh,
Dookie.
he was at Duke.
Yeah, so that's why we tank for him. That's why we tanked the end of last season. Like we're not making a play in. We want to keep our draft pick, and I think we traded up too to get him, and we turned that pick into a Lively. And then later in the round or early second round, we got Omax Prosper, which he's going to be a demon. Just give it a year or two.
So yeah, this is my question. So Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum rely, I feel like a little too much, correct me if I'm wrong, on hitting tough shots.
Jason Tatum especially. Jaylen Brown will take more open ones. Jason Tatum takes a lot of bad ones. Jason Tatum almost makes life harder on himself, especially when you have a team around him like you do. Like he will take a ton of bad, just tough. Like instead, he'll pass up an open look to go shoot a step back mid range at times, which has been a criticism of his. But it's just they got to make them at the end of the day. Because look, you can say the same thing about Luca and Kyrie. Luca and Kyrie just make a lot of them.
Right. But like I just don't I don't know. Like you
Look at that
mentioned that
ISO.
little snake dribble off of the pick and roll. Like they get themselves so open. Like and that's the thing. I don't know if any look like do you know how fast that is right there?
Exactly.
Like
And
that
here's what so I had this same breakdown during the Timberwolves series and why I thought it was a bad matchup. One, the pick and roll coverage. We're seeing the same thing here with Boston. It's just going to get picked apart. Two, when Minnesota played and when like the Celtics have played other teams, they've been able to double team and blitz the best player, this and that. Celtics have more people that can rotate over and are definitely more solid all around defensively. They don't have really a bad defender to pick on outside of Horford and Porzingis. But the way the Mavs do it, even when the Mavs get into their ISOs, Luca or Kyrie, whichever one's ISOing, the other one is always one pass away. So that double has to always come from so far, and they're such good passers
like look at
that it
that.
just gets sniped out.
Is he gonna consistently hit that? I don't know. He'll hit it, but that's a
History,
tough
no.
shot.
You're asking Jason Tatum's going to have to match Luca's production, and
Right.
it's not going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
Luca, I think Kyrie will have a 40-point game this series. I think Luca will have like two 40-point games this series. And I mean, look
Dude,
at this comeback, and we ran out of gas, and I think the Celtics went on like another run where they hit like six threes in a row, if
dude,
I remember this game correctly, and we just kind of ran out of gas. But this can't happen, right? Celtics were up 18 points in this first half. You
mm-hmm.
cannot let the Mavs get back here. And again,
Especially
our
now with the
rotations are
juice
not
they got
there.
going.
Yeah, like it's just not possible. And when it gets down to the wire, like you said, I'm gonna
Gassed
take the best
out.
two closers in the league right now.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
think this is where it starts. Like they just start hitting everything.
On more
And Luca tried to keep
rest,
us afloat.
and it's a playoff game. First off,
Yeah. And
like
this is got to remember, this is Porzingis' first game back since the first round, so he's going to be rusty. Maxi has played two games, so he was at least able to knock some rust off.
dude, he killed us. He killed the Suns in 2022, or yeah, 2022. He
Maxi
killed us. Yes, dude.
just space the floor. He plays hard, and he's going to be huge for him. And Lively rebounding is going to be huge. I mean, if we win the glass, which we just beat the Timberwolves, so we should win the glass, we'll win this game. Because you're going to play percentages, and at the end of the day, Boston is only making, I say only, like they're making 16 threes a game. The Mavs make 14. That's not a big enough discrepancy for me to be like terrified of.
So that shot, I agree. And that shot right there. So this is what I feel like Jason Tatum relies on a lot. Is this kind of shit right here. And the games he struggles is when that isn't dropping.
Absolutely. He takes a lot of those.
When that isn't dropping.
And it's why.
Yeah.
I don't ever bet on the Celtics because I never know what I'm going to get out of them.
Right.
I just don't know.
I don't know, man. I think the Celtics definitely have a shot. We're naive to say they don't, but again, I think the points we're pointing out, I think that's where my head goes. Is like when it gets close, I'm taking Kyrie and Luka to close out a game in the last 2 minutes, or orchestrate a comeback.
I'm notorious for it, but anytime, especially in a 7-game series, unless the teams are completely overpowered, like the KD Warriors, I'm always rocking with the best player. Yeah. And it's without a doubt who the best player in the series is, and it's Luka Doncic. Jason Tatum's a top 10 player in the NBA. But Kyrie's better than Jaylen Brown.
Facts.
I'll take Kyrie over Jaylen Brown.
And that's no disrespect on JB.
No. Everybody forgot about Kyrie. Like, this is happy, at peace Kyrie, and he's doing his thing again.
People tried to write Kyrie off, and that's what I was alluding to earlier, was like, look at him now in Dallas. Like, Mark Cuban's must be a genius. Like, Mark Cuban's dope. He's a great owner. And I wonder, like, what those conversations were behind, like, closed doors. But, like, people tried to write Kyrie off. I talked about it in one of my other videos. It's like, people really tried to write this dude off because, it's society that we live in today. If you say one thing wrong, people are going to interpret it another way, and they're going to try and blacklist you.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely,
it's disgusting. Like, Kyrie probably knows he shouldn't have done some of those things, but like, I think what he was trying to get across was overlooked, and they just like, oh yeah, you're a bad person, which I don't think is the case at all.
It was just, there was some immaturity there. Absolutely.
Right.
He has been on the record saying he was going through a lot, loss of family members, this and that. I think what Dallas did, and Mark Cuban has said this, is like, the biggest thing Kyrie struggled with was the New York media and how they attacked him and this and that. And Cuban's like, oh, I can handle the media. Don't worry about that here. And the Mavericks did a great job of keeping the main thing, and just basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mavs have always been one of those franchises. I mean, you ask any NBA player looking up quotes and stuff like that, they're just like, playing for Dallas, they take care of you. They do whatever. Cube's great. He runs it. And now, obviously, Dagnalt or whatever, the Dagnalt family owns the Mavericks majority, but they're letting Cuban still run the basketball side of things. They want no interest in that. They just want to own a team. They're going to build a new arena. They're going to do all those things that an owner should do, instead of go trade the whole team to make a big splash.
Like the Suns. Like, dude, now that's the most frustrating thing for me. It's like, dog, let James Jones do what he does.
Exactly.
Like,
you guys get back to that, you guys will be just fine. Let James Jones go, because he's great.
And then it was terrible timing, because then we get Beal, but then this new tax bracket thing, or the tax curtain or whatever, like, what a dumb decision. And I love Bradley Beal, but it was like, we could have gotten so much more than,
absolutely.
Like, we were like 1 through 5, we weren't bad. But if you take Beal out of the equation and you fill in a couple solid dudes at a point guard,
we will have to do, once the season's over, we'll have to do an off-season breakdown and future moves for the Suns, and then we can also do any other teams we want to talk about. The Mavs, I mean, we'll be coming off defending our title, so won't be a lot to talk about there.
Yeah, I think the Mavs, no matter what, keep the core for sure. Maybe some adjustment.
But yeah,
we should.
That's the thing. We have everybody long term.
Yeah.
The only decisions the Mavs will have to make this offseason really is what to do with THJ, because he is getting 18 mil, and how much we're going to sign Derek Jones back for.
Yeah. When it's not former son Derek Jones. See, it's like a little pipeline. We share fucking dudes.
I told you, it's back and forth.
It's crazy. It's fun to see how good he's been doing. Like, I'm not saying he's scoring 20, but like the lob threat and the defense, man.
Sometimes he wants to bring the ball coast to coast, and
Yeah.
I cringe a little bit because he is liable to dribble it off his foot,
Yeah.
but defense, he's been super impactful. And that's the thing about the Celtics matchup is they'll go small, but we can go small too, and we'll switch 5 out. And Luke and Kyrie have been underrated defenders this postseason.
Yeah. So let's look here. Game one's on Thursday. How do you see that one going? Game one
I think that
in Boston.
I never I never overreact to a game one. I don't. I expect the Mavs to lose game one. I
Mm-hmm.
expect the emotions to be high. I expect the Celtics to hit 18 plus threes. I expect I expect all that to happen. I expect the crowd to be nuts. They're gonna attack Kyrie relentlessly. But I thought the same thing about Minnesota in game one. There's a lot of emotion.
Careful what you
And
wish for.
where Minnesota messed up was losing a game where the Mavs only made 6 threes.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Celtics, I would argue more need to take advantage of this game one and really set the tone for themselves. Because I feel like if they've been there before, they've blown it. I mean, they've blown multiple conference finals. They've lost in the finals already. If they lose game one and Luka and Kyrie are dominant, I think it gets real tight real quick, right?
Real tight, real
It
quick.
gets real
Yep.
tight for Tatum and Brown. I think so. I do expect them to win. I expect that. Like I said, 18 plus threes. I bet Derek right. I bet everybody's hitting. Even Porzingis. Even coming back from injury sometimes, that first game back is almost like, oh, I'm great. I mean, you look at it, Jordan's first game back from baseball, what'd he score? 50
Dude.
or something like that. Like you take a break, your first game back, your emotions are high, everything just kind of flows. It's after that. It's how do you recover? How do you keep
Mm-hmm.
that pace? But also if Porzingis struggles
There's always a
off of
saying
injury.
when I played baseball, people always said sometimes you play better after a 2 week break because like you're back to your stuff. But once that like flows there and you really got to focus on those other things. So sometimes like sometimes it just comes to you. Like, oh yeah, we're
Yeah, when you
here.
don't have to think about you're like when there's no pressure, it's like it's my first game back, let me just ease into it, and then you play
Right.
great. Then it's when you gotta thought like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this now. It's like, uh-oh,
And then they make
I
adjustments on you.
forgot.
Then they make their
Yeah.
adjustments. So yeah, I'm thinking game one might go Celtics. But again, the Celtics haven't really looked that good, and that's another thing I've been saying. These playoffs, we were never like, whoa, the Celtics. Like, dude, you beat the Indiana Pacers in the conference finals. Why?
And
Giannis,
Halliburton got hurt.
Halliburton got hurt. Giannis and Dame got hurt. Who'd they play in that second round series?
Jimmy Butler was hurt for the
Jimmy
Heat.
Butler
Donovan
was
Mitchell got
hurt.
hurt against the
D. Mitch
Cavs.
hurt. Like, and they still didn't look that great. Like, they should have
No.
swept the Cavs. They had a couple close games with the Cavs. The Heat being led by
They
basically
should they
Tyler
should not have lost
Hero.
the game.
Right.
In all honesty, they should not have lost the game on the way here.
No,
And
they
I didn't
shouldn't
think
have
they were
lost the
going to.
game. And then like they got blessed with all love to Indiana, but they got blessed with Indiana, and they got blessed
But even
just like
if the Knicks would have made it, the Knicks were banged up.
yeah,
I thought
yeah.
going into the playoffs, a healthy Knicks team, I was like, Boston's in trouble. Nobody wants to play that Knicks team healthy. Then they got hurt, and
No,
the rest
exactly.
was history.
Like Nick
But
in the Bucks, bro.
injuries
Like
are all part of it.
it's all
Injuries
part
are a
of
part of
it.
it. You got to be lucky to win a championship.
But
You
at the
do.
same time, how does playing watered down teams prepare you for a team like the Mavs?
We're
That's
gonna
my
find out.
question.
It's gonna be a big switch. As we're there, and you're now facing one. This is the first series where Jason Tatum's not the best player
Yeah,
of the postseason.
yeah, absolutely, hundred
And how do
percent.
you respond to that?
How do you respond to that? And then the third best player is better than your second best player, JB.
Yeah,
And the big's been going crazy. But I got game one. I'm gonna go game one Celtics. Then we got game two, and I think that's a Mavericks bounce back game. I think Mavericks get game two no matter what, in my opinion.
absolutely.
They get
Absolutely.
they get game two no
Now,
matter
now I
what.
think my philosophy switches. If the Mavs win game one,
They
which
drop
I was
game
shocked we
two.
won game two in Minnesota. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think we drop. I don't think we go up 2-0 in Boston. I don't think it's possible. I think Boston's one too good for that, and their home court advantage. I just think it's better. But good teams don't really care about home court.
Yep.
I do. Luca doesn't care. Luca prefers to play on the road. I'm fully convinced. But I think we split there. I think we'll finally win a game four. When we go back to Boston game five, I expect it to be 3-1 Mavs.
Yep. Yeah. 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 Facts. Worst case scenario 2-2.
Worst case scenario 2-2.
Worst case scenario 2-2. Cause bro, like, and I don't want to sound like a Celtics hater. I know I gotta get you out of here in a sec. But bro, I haven't been sold on the Celtics ever. I've never
I haven't
have.
either.
Like I am not sold on them. And it's not like I love Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown's dope. Like I love Drew Holiday, and that's my guy. I think the X factor is Drew Holiday, in my opinion, for the Celtics. If he has a great series, because he, in my opinion, just as important Giannis was and Chris Middleton was, who made all those tough plays to seal out those games against the Suns in the finals? It was Drew Holiday.
Absolutely.
Who was the one
Absolutely.
feeding those lobs up to Giannis off those, like, I think he had like 2 fourth quarter steals to seal. I think it was game 4 and 6, I think. And or game 4. Yeah. No, yeah, game 4 and 6. But he's my X factor. But as the Celtics as a whole, when you boil it down to, because the face is Tatum and Brown, I just have a big question mark, bro. And I think Kyrie and
Absolutely.
Luka trump that, in my opinion.
Where my frustration, I will only get frustrated if Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser come in and have nuts games. Like that will be frustrating me. I think Drew Holiday, what he did 2 years ago or 3 years ago now, I don't know if he can still do that offensively. And I'm gonna keep saying this, everything you saw that was a problem for the Timberwolves,
Mm-hmm.
I think is going to be a bigger problem for the Celtics and just their pick and roll coverage, and they're smaller, that we can win the rebounding battle.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
we can switch with them when we need to.
Especially how y'all have been rebounding and playing in the paint. And then who knows how healthy is Porzingis? He hasn't played all playoffs.
Exactly.
And so are they
Is
like,
he is
dude,
he healthy enough to guard Kyrie and Luka in a pick and roll?
right.
Like honestly, it's already hard enough as it is.
And what
I'm
happens
gonna
when that report comes out after game 2, sore knee, day to day?
like
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Clear.
Clear out or he ain't playing. So I
Yeah,
don't know, bro.
absolutely.
I'm going.
There's nothing I want more than a Horford to have huge minutes. Please put Horford in the game as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. You'll live and die by him hitting those corners. I don't know. Like if that's who's gonna beat you,
We
you know.
scrambled so well though. I mean, look, Jaden McDaniels had a Klay Thompson game and we won.
Bro, he was that game 1.
Game one.
Game 1. Yeah, that was crazy. Y'all have gone through the gauntlet, and I think that's prepared you more than the Celtics ever prepared coming into this game. And it's the NBA Finals. Like anything can happen, man. And it's 2 franchises who haven't won in a
Every
long time.
every team that has beat 350 win teams to get to the finals have won the title except for the 2008 Lakers.
Damn. Who'd they lose? Oh, they lost to the
They lost to
Celtics.
the
Lost to the
Celtics. Yeah, and
Celtics.
then they went and won it back to back later,
Yep.
the next 2 years.
Yep. Next 2 years, and then No, yeah. Then they didn't make it back.
They never made it
That's when
back.
the injuries started to roll in.
Yep.
But damn,
Yep.
man.
That's when Kobe.
So you're saying Mavs in 6. I agree with
Mavs in
you. I'm
six.
gonna go Mavs in 6. Um, and it sucks because I won't be able to watch game. And I love how these are spaced out: Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, Friday,
I think
Monday,
that's another
Thursday.
detriment to the Celtics. Luka gets 2 days off between every game. So whatever he's dealing with, he gets 2 days of treatment. He doesn't get one
Right,
anymore. And he's still been cooking.
right, hundred
That's why I think
percent.
Luka's gonna have multiple 40-point games. I think Kyrie has one. And as a Mavs, you gotta win those 3 games too, though. You can't lose a game where Kyrie scores 40.
Right,
You
you
can
got to
kinda
get
like if
that.
Luka scores 40, like it is what it is. Luka's gonna do it again. Luka, we're gonna see LeBron 2016, 2017 final stats. We're gonna see that out of
Oh
Luka.
yeah, hey, but that's the
Where I
Celtics have
mean,
always struggled with that kind of player.
I'm talking 36 points per game, 10 rebounds, 9, 10, 11 assists. We're going to see that type of game, and you are exact. That didn't even come to my mind until you just said it. But the Celtics couldn't beat LeBron back then. Now they're older, they're more experienced, but they had that same issue.
They had to say they couldn't do anything about it, and Luka's that Luka's just as unstoppable as prime LeBron James. Sue me.
Just
That
without
that's
the
on that's on the pod. He's there. Luka is there.
he
You know
has
what I
just
mean?
he's the second highest points per game. The only person averaging more points in the playoffs than Luka is Michael Jordan. It's clearly he's there. He already has more first team All NBAs than Stephen Curry and Tim Duncan and all them. If he gets a title at 25, watch out.
No, yeah. And I think, yeah, dude. Dude, I know, man. And I just think
He's
about
only
my
25. We forget about that all the time.
yeah,
He's
dude.
25 years old.
Yeah, And that's what I was trying to say earlier was like he's 25, but he's the killer he is. You know what I mean?
He's been
Like
playing
that
pro
Real
basketball for 12
Madrid
years.
motto really comes out. Like when he had not Porzingis, but Gobert in that ISO, and he said, "Motherfucker, you can't fucking guard me." I was like, "Oh my!"
You know what's the funniest part about
Imagine
that
when he
clip?
starts talking like that to JT and JB, bro. How
Like, what
they
are they
gonna
gonna do?
respond? Yeah.
The funniest thing about the Gobert clip to me, if you go back and watch it, and you'll notice it now, is like it is like a switch flips because he hits the shot, he's screaming at the crowd, he's screaming at Gobert, this and that. Then his team gets around him, and it's just like his face completely changed. Like one stop, we need one
Yep.
stop. It's just like a totally different person came back out.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's dope. And that's why, again, I have to go mad because Luke is that guy. I think Ant can get there. I think Ant needs to show us more. Luke has already showed us things. JT needs to show us more. But I think out of all the young stars right now, Book needs to show us more. Out of all the stars right now, I think that are young, Luka is already certified. There's no question of
absolutely.
who he is. And I think a spotlight like this for him is only going to make the legend bigger. I think the bigger the
He's gonna become
stage,
more of a demon.
the better he's going to
Absolutely.
play. That's the vibe I get from the dude.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, like you can say Jason Tatum needs to show us more. Jason Tatum has been to 6 conference finals. He's already in his
Right.
second finals. Jason Tatum is only 26 years old too.
Right.
I think he might be turning 27 soon if he hasn't. But
He's
I almost
always
feel
had
like
good
watching him
teams.
play, that too, that is true. I feel like he's at his ceiling. I feel like Jason Tatum will never be more than a top 7 player in the NBA.
Might fade into that Carmelo Anthony kind of
Good.
career.
Very well could.
And hey, that's no bad. Like if you have a Carmelo Anthony career, yes. But and I think that's also it too. Is I'm always gonna take the guy with the edge like Luka in his potential to then a Jason Tatum because I've never. Yeah, he's hit game winners. He's been clutch, but does that mean you're a killer to the level of Luka? And I'm always gonna take that Jordan over Clyde Drexler type deal. You know what I mean? I'm always gonna take the Kobe over those Celtics teams, even though he lost one, because a guy like that's gonna get his or at least
But also,
come back.
when he lost one, they had KG. And KG was that type of monster too.
No,
Like,
KG
he really
he was
Paul
absolutely.
Pierce wasn't, but KG is.
KG's a certified dog, dude. And yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. KG was that guy. But I'm thinking more matchup wise. You know, Paul Pierce not really. Ray Allen not really.
So as you watch this series, just pay attention to the pick and roll coverage and the rebounding battle. It'll be huge.
Pick and rolls, rebounding. And hey, I'd love to see Jason Tatum prove me wrong. I'm just going to say that too. I'm not hating. I'd love to see him prove me wrong and, whatever. But I'm going with Luka and Kyrie all day.
It's gonna be really sad for.
And look who
Jason
their
Tatum.
coach is.
He's been there.
And very underrated coach. People don't talk about him enough. Is he getting an extension?
Oh, absolutely. He already got it. He got it after the first round.
Okay.
He got an extension. Nico, our GM, got his extension this morning. We're locked in. I mean, this is the group. This is the group for the next at least 3 years.
And how lucky is it for this to be the group? You know what I mean? Like, who would have thought a year and a half ago Kyrie Irving and Luka would have been working out like this, or that you would even get the opportunity to and that's the thing. How did Kyrie everyone nah, PR nightmare maybe, but again, you got to if you're the GM, you got to protect your superstars, and I think Mark Cuban's doing that too. You got to
take your chances too. You're not going to win a championship not taking chances.
Right. All right, brother. I'll let you get out of here. I appreciate you. Maybe I'm thinking about doing a game by game breakdown, but I won't be able to do it on game 4, 5, 6, or 7. maybe 1 through 3. We'll see. But I'll definitely get you on after for whatever happens. We'll dig in.
Yeah, we can
But
do that. Just let me know. Let's
yeah.
dig in. Let's talk about it. I appreciate you. All love, brother.
Take care, brother. See ya. Good dude right there. Thank y'all for watching this video. YouTube is telling me it has this fancy, cool analytic thing YouTube has. Excuse my boxes. I'm moving to a bigger crib. Has a podcast studio in it. No, it doesn't. But YouTube's fancy analytics is telling me, YouTube is telling me that 90% of the people who watch my videos do not subscribe or like to the videos. Hey, I'm learning. I'm growing. Trying to squeeze this in when I can. But all the support helps. If you drop a like when you watch, subscribe to the channel, that goes a long way, because that means I get into the algorithm and the matrix of YouTube. And maybe some other people will come across and be like, hey man, this guy actually might not be the smartest guy, but he's kind of making sense. All right. So, hey, please drop a like. Please drop a subscription to the channel. I appreciate y'all. This is our predictions for the NBA Finals coming up. I'll probably have another video coming out, but this one's with Jarius Halligan, Super Mavs fan. So, love y'all. Thank you.